Namaskar. In our last episode, we talked about life skills versus survival skills. We also looked at India's journey in education from our ancient times to the modern time education. Um, in that journey, we also discussed that we have adopted the same education system even after the independence. So, today in this episode, Namo Namaha. So, as I said, today in this episode, the leading question is we adopted the same system of education even after the independence. What were the compelling reasons behind that?
As we saw that it is a well discussed that Macaulay imposed system where clerks were created and the whole British Empire was supported by Indian people. And so same system we adopted, only the reason behind it was that social units which were very independent, sustainably sustaining units were disturbed.
Okay.
And people were taken to survival mode due to education. See, till that, what was there in India? Independent units were operated. For example, agriculture was one self-sustaining unit where the cost of crop was decided by the value or efforts taken by farmer.
Correct.
But then after, because of government's intervention, it happened that someone else started deciding prices. And it happened that when you have a good production, then definitely the price will go low.
Right.
No value will be paid.
Okay.
Efforts and value will not be paid. So this started happening, and it happened that whichever families, 85% families who were dependent on agriculture, they went in survival mode, which was dependent on jobs which were available in government.
Okay.
Means families couldn't survive for 1 year on their agriculture production because price was less.
Correct.
Because price was decided by someone else, efforts were not fulfilled, and it happened that naturally family expected that my kids should go for some job, he should go to city and have some government job and should send money to our family. So this trend started. So that self-independent unit, which was agriculture, it became not enough. It became as unable to complete the needs of one family. The reason behind is said that population was there, but this is not the case. If you see that today also for huge population our earth is feeding, India is very independent about agricultural products, and even we are exporting. So this is not the case.
Right.
So population is not the reason behind. The system deciding price, the system of deciding price is the problem.
Okay.
So that self-sustaining unit was disturbed, and people started looking towards jobs, and they went into the survival mode. So same system happened with the temples, where hundreds of families were dependent on one temple, but temple's income was taken by government. So what to do? So there is no solution. So what to do? Go for job. Jobs are available. Come here. Come in the post. Come in the. So hundreds of Brahmin families who were dependent on temples activities and rituals and all performances, lot many pujas to be performed in each house in the village. So everything was self-sustaining, and that was disturbed because income itself was not stopped. So these families were having lands which were by the name of temple. Still they were dependent on those lands, and temple was also having its own income, and whole income was very prosperous to maintain temples prosperity and these families prosperity. just like that, thousands of families, they lost their income because of government's intervention. Same thing happened with another unit, that was tribes.
Tribes and pot. Yeah.
Yes, tribes who were dependent on jungles. They used to use all the jungle products and bring them to the cities and bring them to the villages, and they used to sell them.
Right.
Their efforts were valued, and that much the value was paid to them, and by that they used to survive. So that itself was broken, and because jungles were taken over, and then reserve forests were created under the name of these tribes are they were blamed for crimes. Yes, they were counted as robbers, they were counted as criminals, and it happened that they were not they were separated from their own jungle. So this sustainable unit jungle, sustainable unit temple, sustainable unit agriculture, even like that, all these goldsmiths, blacksmiths, then carpenters, all these people, they used to get their value for their effort in the society, which was broken up only because of that government's intervention. That all the weavers, as we saw, weavers were stopped weaving. They were forced to stop weaving, and they were taken for government job. So this was there. And Mahamahopadhyayas of Sanskrit Mahapathashalas were also taken for government job to translate the texts. This is only one example is also enough, that Mahapathashalas were stopped, and Mahamahopadhyayas, they started translating texts for Britishers, and that was very big project, and hundreds of texts, ancient texts, were translated in English by the talent of these Mahamahopadhyayas at the cost of our traditional Mahapathashalas.
Okay. So see, I understand what was done by the British to break the system.
Yes.
But so would you say that there was the job orientation nature was the compelling reason behind re-adopting the same system?
Yes, because there was one chance after independence that you change your systems.
Right.
Temples be independent, agriculture's costing may be decided by farmers,
Right.
then costing may be valued by their efforts, then carpenters are allowed or goldsmiths, then blacksmiths, they were not interfered by industries. All these things were we had one chance to change this system, but this system was not changed, and this all the drawbacks of this system they percolated at the level of education. So it happened that which was clerk mentality was there behind education, that continued after independence also. But people were educating themselves for their job, only for their job, not for value addition to the community.
Okay. So now that you just talked about that, they brought not only at the job level, but
Yes.
they brought the same system at the education level.
Yes.
So how did they implement the same job system into education level as well?
Now, whatever the system was percolated to education, it was so strong. How could it become strong? That we'll see the reasons. It survived after independence also. Means the system is not changed, then everything is stable.
Right.
So everything will go on like that itself for many years.
Right.
So that was, first of all, the 35 marks passing that you, so you want
Yes.
you want to become a clerk, so you are introduced with many subjects which are on the superficial level,
Right.
and you are allowed to present yourself at the cost of 35 marks. So you are with degree but unskilled. You are not knowing anything but have learned everything. Like
But
that.
the bar itself is set at such a lower level.
Such a lower level that what is the caliber of degree holder? That was not counted. They were only capable of doing job or doing clerical work, And it happened that whichever the systems were dependent on these clerk mentality people, they run those systems like that itself. So though the talented 1% people they intended to change it, it was impossible to change because they didn't get those hands, all together, which
Right.
were with talented people, with whole of the knowledge with them.
Okay.
So this happened. So this 35 marks passing, that was a very big problem. Again the text. The text was decided.
Textbook.
Textbook.
Ah.
That textbook which is allotted to one age group, where this much information is to be given. Finished. Then though the child urges to have more information about physics, about chemistry, he is not allowed at all.
Right.
Even he is not spared with the time also.
Okay. When you say he is not spared the time, is it about the schedule of the day in the school, or what
Yes,
do you mean
yes.
by that?
Schedule of the day in the school, for example, 35 minutes period,
Ah.
45 minutes period. So the school day is divided into 7 to 8 periods.
Periods, yes.
35 minutes, and so you are not allowed to spare time. 6 hours are taken by school, and remaining hours you are with the homework.
Yes, you are
And-
given homework.
So homework was compulsory, and it was dependent on the text. So you are compelled to memorize everything which is instructed to you, and you are supposed to reproduce it,
Ah.
and you are supposed to give. So if you want to be expert in any which skill, you are supposed to have time. No? Though you are from goldsmith's family, you don't have time to give. Means you don't have time to learn from your father. You learn from your grandfather. It's not possible. We have seen that many goldsmiths' children, they have taken this modern education, and they have lost their family speciality. They have lost it. Carpenters, they have lost. So students who are students who are from well-to-do families with great tradition, they have lost their skills, and they are remained only like a clerk in railway, clerk in or some other higher post. Because of their talent, because of their efforts, they will give exams, and some higher post they will acquire, but dependent on government job.
So traditionally, what they inherited from their family is all lost.
It was lost. It was lost about traditions of Shastra also, traditions of craftsmanship also. Then everything was lost because these students were not having time.
Period.
Periods, and for whole of the time was taken. Even in agriculture, students were not helping with, as we say, many principals, they say that in the childhood I used to go to school, and I used to come back, and I used to go to farm, and I used to take efforts, means I used to work over there. They share that I didn't have time to study. So what was that study? That was memorizing and reproducing. So they were not getting time for that, only because of their agricultural responsibilities. Even they were not getting time to learn agricultural responsibilities in total, only because of school. So it happened that everything was put up in system, and your abilities were not valued at all, because you are given the prizes for certification. So if you don't get the certificate, then that certificate system was there. So if you don't get 10 standards certificate, even if though you are talented, that you will give that exam, clerical exam, within 2 months efforts, it was not allowed. 80%, 75% attendance was there in the schools.
Yes.
So people used to attend schools without any reason, sitting in the benches with their extra talent. It happened for many years, and students suffered from that, and they became job oriented and they were kept deliberately on survival mode. So if you want to survive, you will have to have job. If you want to have job, you will have to memorize what we say. If you want to memorize what we say, you will have to have textbook. If you have to have textbook, then you will have to have textbook teacher.
Correct.
Then textbook teacher, if textbook teacher, you don't listen to textbook teacher, then you will you will not understand what will be asked in the exam. So exam preparation will not be done. So textbook teachers were converted into textbook teachers.
Absolutely.
Though teacher is very skillful and he wants to impart some kind of skill to the student, it's impossible. So
it was not even allowed.
It was not allowed at all. Even, you know, if we talk about chemistry, if water is changing its molecular system, then it is physics itself.
Yes, there are forces involved. Right?
Yes, forces involved. But it is, though no link is there. After 10th standard also, students don't realize this. Though they learn physics, though they learn chemistry, they won't understand that chemical reactions are dependent on physical reactions itself.
So by the structure of this system, a student is forced to learn in a compartmentalized way.
What learn? Just memorize.
Remember, not even
short-term memory. They were not allowed to understand whole of the subject. See, textbooks, how the textbooks are there. The whole of the Raghuvamsham is not introduced. One sarga, one part of it, small part. Whole of the metallurgy is not understood at all.
No.
Only small part is taught. So you are not allowed to acquire the knowledge bank also.
So you are talking about syllabus here. There is a set syllabus.
Syllabus which is dependent on all these texts and which is compartmentalized, and you are not you are getting just chunks of the knowledge, and you are thinking that I am getting a lot of knowledge, and you are mesmerized and you are memorizing, but you are not remembering, you are not developing your capabilities.
Yeah, you are mesmerized to memorize. Yeah, that's a good sentence actually.
So that's why all the mechanical engineers are not capable of establishing industry.
They are not. Yes,
they are not, because they don't know the fundamentals, and they don't know the requirements or bank of the knowledge with them. They don't have,
because of the way it is compartmentalized.
Yes. Any person who is MSc in chemistry, he cannot run independent chemical industry at all.
You talked about textbooks.
Yes.
But what about reference book? Is that allowed, not allowed?
See,
or
though
not
you
allowed?
know the reference books, you will go for the references, particular references. You don't have time to refer the whole book. This happens in every field, you know. You don't have time to read whole of the book.
Okay.
Some extraordinary people will read a lot.
Yes.
But here we have 95% of the potential where reference books may operate as your knowledge bank for whole of your life. There the reference books are not allowed. You means you are not allowed. You are supposed to refer the text.
And even if they are allowed, as you said, you will only go to a compartment of that reference book, which is required.
Yes, which is required to memorize and produce in the paper.
I was just going to go to that point also. What are your thoughts on exams?
3 hours paper, you know.
Yes.
Why this came up? 3 hours paper is the reasoning that you are supposed to be in the clerk mentality. You should sit for many hours and do clerical job.
Right.
So that's capacity is measured out. That you are supposed to sit for 3 hours and you are supposed to write down.
Right.
So that was checked out.
That was the original intent of this 3-hour exam. Okay.
No, we can realize that, you know, if, just see which capabilities are observed. You can see that he can write, he can memorize, which is instructed to him.
Right.
And for example, if cumulative, this interest, cumulative interest, he can do it everything on the paper, but he will not understand orally what is happening with his bank account. No. Why? Because on the they were taught to bring everything on the paper. You are supposed to bring it on the paper. You are not supposed to apply it in your daily routine.
Right.
So this was checked and this was forced to do and this was done. That is the reason behind all the exam system, where only reproduction, documentation, and your capability to document within time span. That was seen. So that's why the railway jobs, then government jobs, which are clerical jobs, then post office jobs, where you are dominantly doing documentation and maintaining records. That is most important, and you are not giving your head over there. You are not allowed to give your brain over there. So your brain is confined to use by the mode of clerical work.
And that same 3-hour system that was applied for the clerical jobs, they implemented that in our
Education system. Every time for every subject, you are supposed to sit for 3 hours and sit for write everything.
And score marks.
Score marks. That is also for 35%.
That is also. Yes.
So even the memorizing, then reproducing. If some talented person is there, he will get 80%, and then also it's of no use. He is expert in those things itself, documentation and maintaining record and system, and he is very systematic, like that itself. He won't get the essence of that knowledge bank where he can create something.
So in this whole system of syllabus, exams, 35 marks and period system,
Yes.
What is the role of current teacher? Where do you see the role of current teacher in this scenario?
Current teachers are forced to be in the system, They are supposed to teach the text. If you talk apart from the text, you are not allowed. Then objections are taken.
Correct.
Then what do you teach in the period? That is also controlled. So teachers are textbook teachers. They are informers. They are not facilitators in true sense. In true sense, who is facilitator? Who promotes you, motivates you for learning.
Correct.
And being capable of deeply in some subject. Be skillful. So this was not allowed. All the teachers are separated. See, Marathi teacher is not knowing Sanskrit, and Sanskrit teacher is not knowing Hindi, and even chemistry teacher is not knowing physics, and physics teacher is not knowing chemistry. Everything is segregated.
So you are supposed to have your own tunnel vision even at the teacher level.
Yes.
You are not.
Teachers are also confined to be job oriented, in survival mode. If you don't do job, you cannot survive. This is there. In ancient India, survival mode and means of survival and your means of your role in society were totally different.
Yes.
They were kept different. They were naturally different.
That's how it just evolved.
Yes, he was there, he used to commit himself for great craftsmanship, then skills which he has got from his studies, from his family. He used to work for that. For very higher purpose, he used to contribute to the society. So these were not community helpers. Community helpers is the word which corrupted our students. The students started thinking that we are not those.
So they started excluding them. There was no inclusion.
By the name of community helpers itself, they are excluded.
So
Means you are community and they are helping.
And this was done with what type of jobs? The carpenter.
With nurse, then carpenter, then the doctors also. They are also called as community helpers. Why it is so? Why? Because each and every person should not think that they are part and parcel of our community. And I am supposed to have some role in the community. No, I don't have any role in the community. I am in the service of government. I am in the service of government. So I don't have any role. All these community helpers will help me to serve my government. So this is most dangerous, So community helpers are actually community, they are community units. They are community, part and parcel of community. This is our community.
So they are community
promoters or
enablers,
prosperers, who are making our community prosperous. So all these are not community helpers. You are not separate.
That's how they are taught as in our education.
Yes. They'll say that is not the meaning, but what happens practically is most important. See, what child will think that a goldsmith, though I am from the family, I am goldsmith. The goldsmith is community helper and he is someone else. And I want to be someone else. I want to serve government. I want to be in the job. I am sophisticated. I am white collars. I want white collars job. So this job orientation came in the education, and education is totally meant for jobs.
So even the role of teacher is confined, and I wouldn't call it corrupt, but that's what it has become. Very bounded.
Yes, yes. And this is, this is to be refined by holistic approach.
Right. Okay.
What is that holistic approach? Holistic approach is all the subjects are interlinked and they are overlapping each other.
Right.
And you should have wisdom out of it. Through that wisdom, you will increase your capability to contribute our community.
That's an excellent way to say it.
So what is this holistic approach? We'll have to discuss in next
Next episode. Yes, yes.
So this holistic approach is there always with ancient society and Gurukulam and Gurukul system. Everywhere this holistic approach is there.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, Varsha Acharya. In next episode, I think we will talk about this holistic approach in more depth.
Yes, yes, definitely. We'll understand how Gurukul operates.
How Gurukul operates.
Yes.
Very interesting. Thank you, everyone. Namo Namaha. If you are watching this episode, please click the like button and please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.